to looking at you as one of those incredible pioneering minds of the 21st century that we're going to be talking about for a long, 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 long time. So,
thank you so much. I have probably not spoken like that.
No, thank you. I truly appreciate your genius. It's truly enlightening. And you tell a little story, and I really appreciated this little story because it resonated very personally to me. But you told a little story in your book about being a child and asking your parents, "Who am I?" And how eventually, after you're asking them so much, and they're giving you answers, and they're thinking they're doing such a great job answering you, and you're exhausting them with but who am I? They finally had to tell you to be quiet. So in knowing this, because I did this too, how in knowing how many people are feeling similar experiences and similar moments of what's my purpose, how can we begin to probe deeper into the self-discovery and purpose of self through beingness, which you discuss in great detail in your book? If you could explore that for us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I see it a little bit like a two-step process. I think the whole book is actually very much about the map, how to discover more who you are, and also actually a little bit how you view the world, and also view your reality, view how you're connected to other people, and how you're connected to the divine. But the more practical aspect, I would say, is the first step is what I call enter into beingness. And this is something not as a meditation practice per se, it is actually a life practice. It's something we should do every moment in our life. And what this means is simply that we are seeking within to manifest who we truly are in terms of beingness, where we don't need to do anything, we don't need to be anyone, we just be who we are, and that is what I call beingness. And a very simple exercise that I have used and have taught many other people to use is to seek a sensation that we have of that we exist. It's actually quite remarkable that we exist, and we don't need to do anything to exist. We maybe need to do something to maintain our body, to eat, and drink water and breathe air. But except for that, we exist, and it's to seek into that sensation that we exist. And when we do that, we drop all our persona, all aspect, what I call the false self. We just reside into the sensation to exist, and we can't explain how that sensation is. It's simply something everybody has to experience for themselves, because there are no words for it. And that sort of is the first step. The second step I call, which is a little bit where you have to imagine for yourself, is after you found this sensation to exist, you practice that you have a little warmth around your chest. I think most people have experienced this. You practice to sit with that warmth, and then you start to imagine within yourself that you have a portal into your heart, and from that portal that comes a very beautiful, intense light that comes out, and it sort of fills our body, and it shines out into the world. That is more to imagine, but there is a feeling with it, and that is that warmth, loving feeling that comes with that light. So it brings actually a little bit two aspects together there, both maybe a little bit that Buddhistic aspect, and the other is more the Christian aspect. You marry the two in these two exercises.
Okay, and this would be considered growing the light from within. This would this be considered like for the individual feeling that light? Maybe it might be the first time they felt the light, or it might be the 1,000th time they felt the light. But is it a warmth and a growth? Like, I guess what my question is once that light is experienced, can they expand upon that, and what does that feel like
they
when they are emanating it?
they can expand on it. I think everybody has felt it in their life. Let me give you just a few examples. You might be out in nature and climb the beautiful hill, and you're standing there looking out into the surrounding. Are you immense with the beauty of nature? In that moment, you have an empty head. You don't think anything. You just stand there and enjoying something immensely beautiful, and then you're having that warmth in your heart. You might not think in that way, but you have it. And it might be the same as you are listening to beautiful music. You get goosebumps all over your body, or you're looking deep into your eyes or your loving partner and so on. So everybody has experienced it. It's that they haven't labeled it as such and so on. So, yes, you can grow it, but with it also comes that we need to transform what I call what is false within us to become more real, our real us, the true self, who we really are, the true self, which is also the divine aspect of ourselves. And as we're doing that transformation, which can be challenging, but it also brings in more and more the light within. So we need to work on ourselves and make that dedication to really strive to purify ourselves. And as we become more and more purer, we will have more and more access to feeling that loving light within.
And oftentimes we may be in this state of feeling the essence of light and love, and everything's flowing along rather swimmingly, and all of a sudden a fear hits us, or something happens and it triggers a fear, and all our growth or our evolution seems to like hit us in the face, where reality is uncomfortable. So how can we use fear to evolve us and use it as an opportunity to rise above the fear through like a love or a forgiveness or something along that line?
Yeah, I mean, I often call the fear is a searchlight to find more love, because usually if we go towards the fear, we will find an opportunity to actually find more love. Fear is showing us where we have limited ourselves. So therefore, we should never push fear away or this type of reaction that we have. We should bring it to us. And what I mean with that is that the first time when we experience fear, sometimes we get also this little itchy feeling within. I think everybody knows this, that you want to respond to someone in a harsh way. You want to get angry, you get frustrated, and so on. And there is an itchy feeling within that you want to respond immediately. And when you have that itchy feeling, and when you have a fearful reaction, instead of going into it or being afraid of the fear, we actually decide to be intimate with the fear. We bring it to us. And a very simple technique I've been using, and I've taught other people, is to label your fear that we often have. Most of us have a very similar fearful reaction to certain events, and these are often different for different individuals. And we could give it a name. We could call it Larry, or maybe Helen, or whatever we want, as a recognition that now Larry is here again. I can feel you in me. I can feel that feeling in my stomach or in my cheeks or how I'm getting angry and so on. And I can recognize it by giving it a name, because when I do that, I become aware that it's there. Usually what happens when it comes up, we sort of become unaware, and it takes over our consciousness, and we react automatically in a certain way. But by becoming intimate with it, we bring it to us. And then we don't buy into it. We let us to feel it fully. We feel it, and then we could become a little bit neutral about that feeling. We can just say, "Oh my God, I just have an experience of Larry. I'm experiencing Larry right now." and by doing that, bringing that, so to speak, let it sit with us. We eventually open also our heart when we have practiced that, and we let Larry then eventually melt into the light of the heart. So we bring it step by step closer and closer and bring it to love, and then it's eventually will be transformed.
And this is just one of your many tools, because you do many workshops all over the world, and thousands of people have been benefited in finding their light through your work. How do you find the method of what you do different than maybe other spiritual teachings that are out there? Because there's so many concepts across the board, and you're really dealing with really getting into the core of the light and the love and the heart. So do you see that your teachings or your workshop may be quite advanced or different than others that are out there because of that?
It's a little bit difficult for me to answer, because I have walked so much my own path. I've attended a few workshops and of course read many books. So I have sort of taken my own, I walk my own path very much and follow very much my inner voice. What I of course recognize in reading many other people's work, that this is similar what I also think about it and so on. But I think the gentle way has one particular flavor that I have thought is very important, and that comes with the word gentle, and it has to do with that spiritual practice is supposed to be loving, and it's supposed to be gentle. That is not to let's say, deceive ourselves that we avoid to see the truth, but in every step we should practice in such a way that we are loving towards ourselves, and that comes with being gentle and kind. So I think that's a particular flavor that I put on it, because the light within is supposed to be a soft light. It's supposed to be a light that is like you're bathing in something very comforting, and you can rest in it and feeling completely comforted by the light, and feeling very safe and secure. And that comes with that we are showing always in our practice a loving side.
That's wonderful. And there's a wonderful chapter I absolutely loved about choices in your book, and I really want to ask you to explain to the audience, how can we choose more wisdom-based choices over fear-driven choices?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it sort of comes in the. Let's recognize that there are different type of choices we have.
Right.
We have the small little choice that may become in the spur of the moment. That, let's say, you're sitting in your office and a coworker comes in and they challenge you in a certain way, or maybe even your boss comes in and challenge you in a certain way. Then you have one type of choice to respond to that situation, and then you have another type of choice, which is something that you wrestle with. Should I change my job? Should I go in different life directions, and so on? And this is more choices that we might be we're thinking about it for a long time. So let's take the first choice. How should I respond to this situation? And it's a little bit that we might then get triggered by our coworker. He pushes a button on us, and we are suddenly reacting, and we are feeling this frustration, this itchy feeling that I just talked about. I want to respond to this. I want to give back. He hurt me. I want to give back. So what we do in that situation is that we pause for a second. We could just recognize the itchy feeling that, oh wow, now it comes. Let me pause for a few seconds here. Let me not go into that itchy feeling. Let me instead have it to sit with me. It stays there, but I don't respond in that moment to coming from that itchy feeling. And then instead, if we have practice to have this sensation to exist, and also practice to have the light in our heart, we seek to look at the other person, and instead to respond to what I call the false self in that person, because usually he was triggered by something to express his own false self, we try to look to the light and love in that person. And then we respond from that aspect of us to the other person aspect.